Choose your main 7th of February update. What's up guys, Petko here. Welcome yet for another video. This is gonna be the first ever video recorded from this apartment. Me and my girlfriend recently moved into a new one, and this room is specifically gonna be dedicated to me working, creating content, so forth. So welcome. The lighting is a little bit scuffed out, but let's talk about all of the things that has happened the past couple of days. You guys already know the class changes came out. If you guys don't know what class changes got, links down in the video below. You guys can take a look exactly what got changed. This is going to be a TLDR smaller version of what has happened. As you can see, only the single target and AoE damage profile has moved a little bit here. And honestly, as we get closer and closer to the start of the expansion, again, 26th of February is when the early access came out, which is pretty much like 19 days from now. We started to get a closer look to what is looked to be a finalized table. I'm going to be choosing my odds likely at the middle of February, beginning of the last week of February, pretty much I would say. So here on the very top, you're going to see the biggest difference. Now, Havoc didn't get a singular change for the past month and a half, but BM Hunter got absolutely annihilated. Somebody told me not to say annihilated, says to say annihilated, so here we go. I'm improving my English. Yes, BM Hunter got absolutely blasted, I believe. More than 15% out of nerf. I mean, if you include all nerfs, 15% give or take is going to be the outcome. So BM single target after some testing, it was absolutely horrible. Likely the worst so far across any DPS that I tested Hermetic Plus, or at least one of the worst, which is pretty bad. Also, the AoE profile got nerfed. Both Dark Ranger and Pack Leader got absolutely nuked down, so that's unfortunate. Iron Sword is slight changes. I would say they're still pretty like bad. I would say at most average, depends really if you need battle shot. Other than that, you just ignore Arm Sword until it gets buffed again. Red Powder got some slight changes. I tested both Templar and Herald, and I'll be honest with you, I think Templar is the go. Has better sustained damage and better burst damage and a better prio, so definitely I'm going to go Templar. Slightly better performance this time around. It does not look like to be the worst DPS so far, but once again, it is most definitely quite down bad. Destro got some changes. Mostly single target adjustments. There are some AoE changes, but they buff Chaos Bolt, Incinerate, and a Conflagrate. You don't play... Conflagrate and Incinerate altogether does not account that much of your overall damage. They are more like a single target abilities. Even after those buffs, I believe Destro still needs more single target adjustments. If your Chaos Bolt gets buffed by additional 20% or 30%, I could say that your AoE profile is likely going to get better. But as you can see right now, not looking that great. On the highest level keys, perhaps it can get better, but for the average keys, terrible. Going with a Fire Mage, honestly, Fire Mage has been getting L's after L's. I don't like the direction of the mage so far, at least with the tuning. The performance dropped slightly for AoE performance. Single target got slightly better, that's fine. Subrock, okay, so they out-nerf Subrock by 8%, completely unjustified. I think the AoE profile of Subrock is actually quite fine, especially when it comes down to frontal burst, but the single target, just like BM Hunter, one of the worst so far in Mythic Plus. Very disappointed with Subrock and how the ST is being handled. But having good AoE and bad ST means that you're probably going to get buffed in single target, because Blizzard is like tuning around rate, so I wouldn't be surprised if they actually, you know, give you some buffs. Moving forward to Frost Decay, a little bit adjusted here, I would say, for the most part. You do gonna be worse than last week. Unfortunately, the Rider of the Apocalypse build is now, I don't like to say dead, but the single target build is pretty bad, so people going Deadbringer for slightly better ST prio damage, so that's about it. Overall, Unholy, as you can see, it's much better. Speaking about Unholy, Unholy got likely the juiciest, fattiest, biggest bomb cloud buffs you can ever expect from Unholy. Right now, this pick has one of the best executes in the game with Pestilence. You are actually critting for like 4 to 5 million if you actually play your cards right. Your single target amongst the best, if not the best. Right now, Demolock, unfortunately, is still bug. There's still quite a few bugs that inflate the damage of Demolock, and even though they nerfed Soul Harvester, Demolock is still absolutely fantastic / crazy. Yeah, similar thing by the way to Arcane Mage. Arcane Mage single target and AoE damage, if you guys didn't know, it got buffed. Sorry, the ST got nerfed, but the AoE got significantly buffed. So now you do like crazy 2 to 3 million bursts sometimes in mass AoE, and it's one of the best AoE specs in the game, which is quite ironic, because if you guys know Arcane has never really been top tier for AoE, but after the most recent buffs, you are now looking at one of the best AoE classes in the game. Yeah, nothing for Devourer, pretty much. Survival Hunter. Okay, so they nerfed Survival Sentinel, which was actually the best build, but there was a new build discovered quite recently, which focuses a lot more on Raptor Strike. It's a dual wield, double dagger Survival Hunter. that gets you more focus and you spend a lot more up to strike. It's pretty funny. I've already played it today several times. You can roll back the vote if you liked from today, from the 7th of February on YouTube or on Twitch. And you're gonna see actually your single target looks to be very strong. The sustain AoE damage also looking to be pretty strong. It's kind of ironic because you do spam a lot of Raptor Strike and you don't ever go yeah, so far I believe the performance of the Rival Hunter is similar to what the pre-nerf Sentinel was, but slightly better single target, which I think is fair enough. The Devastation Evoker got second nerf in a row for the past 2 weeks. Unfortunately, you have dropped down a little bit when it comes down to damage. But if I gotta be frank here, because of the rest of the classes that were near you got nerfed, I feel like you're gonna be likely, although the performance was gonna be less than last week, I still think you're gonna be fine for the most part. The single target, I was a little bit generous here with 7.75, maybe 7.5 was more accurate, but just because of the frontal burst, I gave it like extra 25 points. Similar to the AoE, I feel like the AoE is so fucking front loaded that most of the time you're gonna end up sniping most classes, so that's why 9.5, but I think it's more like 8.5/9. It really depends on how high keys you're playing. Last but not least, Afterlock got a single target nerfs as well as AoE nerfs. I believe the AoE nerfs were more significant than the single target nerfs. They diminished the performance of the spec, dropping few slots down. One of my favorite specs. And I think if you guys want to hear about every other spec that will change, check out the changes class videos. This is pretty much a TLDR numerical points for me to choose my ult, because sometimes I just don't know what to ult this season, and you know, my intuition right now is telling me to go play Devourer GH, Unholy Decay. That's what my intuition is telling me, to go Devourer GH as an ult, Unholy Decay as an ult, and I have one more choice of ult, which is gonna be likely Pharaoh Druid to Shadow Priest. I think that's so far my intuition. I will finalize what I'm gonna ult likely, as I said, like end of February pretty much. But do let me know if you guys like me to keep maintaining this graph for all of you. I don't know if it's useful. I've been sharing it for the past couple years. Most people have been liking it, but just let me know Twitch if you YouTube chat if you like this. If you think it's fucking bollocks, I will just stop doing it. I will just do it for myself. But yeah, this is by the way overall score. My apologies. On overall score, things changes a little bit because of the prior target damage being held into account. As you can see, Shadow Priest going a bit higher, Pharaoh Druid, unfortunately, Ellie Shaman is going down because there's no prior. Every class that has no prior goes down. Like Devastation, for example, Ellie, Red Pally, Subroxy, all those guys go down. Even Havoc goes a bit up because of the prior target damage, you know, and also survivability is pretty beefy, to say the least. This is pretty much every other factor except the fun, because in the first one we count the fun. If I don't count the fun, the rankings shift a little bit here, as you can see. But for the most part, they're close to the same as the overall score. I prefer to look at only damage because for me that is the most relevant and the biggest factor, driving factor of which class gets to be better. And yeah, I think that's everything so far, guys. I will let you know about the update next week, and if you guys like it, once again, make sure to follow the channel. And I'm doing an epic edition of Midnight giveaway. If you guys like to get one, for example, any region can enter. I'm gonna attach the link in a pinned comment. You can enter it if you like to. I usually would do that every single Sunday until the end of February, give or take. So 4 weeks in a row, you're gonna get epic Midnight giveaway edition from me to any region. That's it, chat. Have a good night. Thank you for watching the stream, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.